My friends, in the event that you are new to this wonderful card game and you have not yet signed up for a UGN Play account, you can now sign up with my exclusive referral code Alliteration and get yourself 50 bonus loyalty points for free, as well as additional loyalty points for every event that you play in within my referral code period. Why do you need these, you might ask? Well, loyalty points can be used to redeem free promotional cards in the mail, as well as other exclusive items coming in the future. The bonus points from using my code are enough to redeem almost any promo card right off the bat, and having your UGN account is going to allow you to accrue and track more and more as you go through your hero or villain's journey. If free cards and progression all sound super appealing to you, the links for all of this are going to be in the description below. Now, let's get on to the video. Good evening, my dear viewers. My name is Levi. Welcome to another Alliteration gaming video, and today we are going to predict every single character that I think will be across the entire character roster of Set 4 and all of its accompanying product. So if you remember, in the days leading up to Set 2's release after its announcement, I did a very similar video where I kind of just went over all of the characters that I thought were more than likely to make an appearance, just based off of how we knew they picked characters. And then when Set 3 rolled around, I decided not to do one of these just because of like how off the rails they went with Set 3, right? Like it wasn't necessarily tied to a certain arc or a certain season. They said that we're only going to be like 8 characters, and 2 of them were 13 and Coda, so like we really had no idea what to expect. It didn't seem like there were going to be villains in there, but there ended up being villains in there. Set 3 was really weird with how it brought in characters, and I don't think there was nearly as much to predict there, so I opted not to make a video going into Set 3. But now Set 4 has shown off. We've got a lot of pictures of Set 4 and its accompanying rival deck and its DLC from all of the retailer data, and it is quite obviously going to be a villain jam-packed set, so I thought it would be very cool to revisit this format of video and go over what I think is one of the hottest topics in the community right now, is who all is going to be in Set 4. I mean, obviously being a villain set, it's definitely slated to include some of the more anticipated characters from the series. People freaking love the villains, especially like stateside. We absolutely adore the villains when it comes to MHA as a franchise. So that's why today we're going to compile a little chart based on who I think is going to appear across the entire set, and we're going to do it in a little tier list format because it just kind of lets me categorize them very easily. So before we get into it, let's actually talk about those categories. First is the confirmed tier. These, and I have this in quotation marks because obviously nothing is like confirmed, but these are just people that essentially appear on the box, or that we just know that we're getting for sure in some way, shape, or form. Very likely is the characters that it would be extremely strange for them not to have. These are just the characters that make the most sense to have, that have that much relevance in this like era of the series for any number of reasons whatsoever. These are characters that it would be very bizarre if they did not appear in the set. Then in the possibly tier we have like this character. This is kind of like the tier of this character hasn't shown up yet, so it would make quite some sense for them to show up. They very much meet somewhere in the middle, and it wouldn't like blow me away to see them in the set. I also wouldn't be super surprised if they didn't show up. And then lastly we have the gunhead tier, which essentially the gunhead tier just means, hey, this is a named character who appears at this point in time of the anime, so they might get a character card. Extremely unlikely, but if we're going to scrape the absolute bottom of the barrel, sort of like how Series 2 had the aforementioned Gunhead, Fourth Kind, Uwabami. Series 3 had Backdraft, Death Arms. The characters who's like the majority of the fandom doesn't even know the name of, but they do have a name and they have appeared at this point in time. So I'm going to list them, but the odds of them being there are pretty astronomically low. Why does it think Gunhead is misspelled? This is not a. It's a proper noun. It can't be misspelled. What about a hyphen? We have appeased tier list maker. So that's the breakdown of our different categories. Another big criteria that's been used to predict characters in sets is like when they appear in the anime, because like Set 1 was Season 1, Set 2 was Season 2, but Season 3 kind of broke that curve. I still think they're going like somewhat chronologically, and that is very much like what this prediction list is going to be based around, since we already pretty much know we're getting like the majority of the Vanguard Action Squad, everyone that appears in like the summer training camp forest arc, which is like the first half of Season 3, and then the All for One versus All Might deck is obviously like the Camino arc. I'm not going to go past that for the sake of this list. So there's not going to be characters like Miss Joke, any of Miss Joke's students, the Shiketsu High students, basically any characters that were relevant in like the provisional license exam arc. I'm not going to include any of those because I don't think this set is reaching that far in, although it's always possible they reach into those characters with things like promo characters and cards. There's possibly an argument to be made for some of the Shiketsu High students, given that they've already got cards like Fierce Whirlwind and Extendo Hairstrike, so maybe we are going that far, but for the time being, I'm going to just kind of take what Set 4 and its accompanying products promotional promotional art is giving me at face value, and just assume the Camino arc is where we're cutting the line for this set here. To make a video like this, I do need like some kind of ground rules to be set. I need some basis for speculation. With all that being said, let's leap right into it. And the first character on the chopping block here is Vlad King. This is the teacher for class 1B. I think he is super possible. I'm not going to put him in very likely because like I don't think it's the chances are that high, but it is quite possible. But the summer training camp forest arc is kind of the arc where he has like the most relevance. We see a lot of class 1B during that arc, and we see him as their homeroom teacher quite a lot as well. I think we might see Vlad King in this set. It's extremely possible. Next, Twice. Twice is going to be the first essentially confirmed slot because you can see him right there on the side of the box if you squint your eyes hard enough. Additionally, if you've seen the promotional material for the class reunion set, he's got a promo card in there that is an alternate art of one of the cards from set 4. So Twice is undoubtedly in the set and will most certainly have a kit inside of it. Really can't wait to see what he does. Next up on the list is someone I'm really excited about, and that's Spinner. Spinner's also in the all but confirmed category. He is on the side of the box once again. Spinner's really cool. I have to imagine that he's going to bring a lot of weapons into the fourfold. I really hope that he gets a full kit. He's more than likely going to have like the water symbol because he is a lizard, and then probably some combination of like all or evil or maybe even good, because he's kind of like, him and Twice are kind of like the good boys of the Vanguard Action Squad. They they kind of have their own agenda for the most part, and they're good natured at heart. But Spinner either way is going to bring possibly some more weapons into water, some more weapons into the already filled weapon symbols. Either way, it's gonna be really exciting. Cannot wait to see what Spinner does. I hope his ultra rare is just his big like rubber banded belted up bundle of swords that he uses like once in the anime and never comes back. I really hope that's his ultra rare. Next on the list we have Mr. Compress, who is also confirmed, not all but confirmed, literally confirmed. If you've seen the retailer notice for the pre-releases, he is the pre-release promo. His character card is the pre-release promo. Mr. Compress is really cool. He's one of my favorite characters, my favorite character in the League of Villains. I'm very excited to start playing with him. Hopefully he's got some support across the set itself and he's not just a promo character, but we will have to wait and see. Next is Magna. Magna is not on the side of the box, so she's not going to be confirmed, but instead she's just going to be in the very likely category. Magna is a pivotal member of the Vanguard Action Squad. She fights Tiger for like a minute and a half, which is, to be fair, more than like what a third of the Vanguard Action Squad does, so it'd be super weird if she's not in the set. I can see her more so being like a promo character. I think in the set might be a bit of a stretch, but promo character at least for sure. There's no way we're not going to be able to play Magna in some way, shape, or form come set 4's release. Next we got Muscular, who is also very likely. I think it would be insane if we don't see Muscular in this set. He's the most relevant fight in that entire arc, and also the closest thing to an actual fight in that entire arc. 1,000,000% smash is like a massive moment in the anime, and I think it'd be crazy if we don't see Muscular here. I think there's no shot that Muscular is not in the set and does not have a full kit. He's going to be both of those things, and there's no doubt about it. Really eager to see what kind of things Muscular can bring to the punch packages on the other symbols. Next up on the list we got Mustard. I'm actually going to put Mustard in the possibly category. He is like a really relevant member of the Vanguard Action Squad, and he does have like a very real fight against like Kendo and Tetsu. So I'm not going to put him in very likely. He's going to be down here and possibly because I think there's like a slight chance that they're not allowed to print this character card because one, he has a gun on, that's like his entire thing is he just has a gun, and that's on everything he does. You can't really do much about this guy without bringing his gun in somehow. And then two, his entire getup alongside like his gas quirk is he's very much just like supposed to be a Nazi allegory. It's an extremely sensitive topic, and I would not be super surprised if they just wanted to stray away from it. So I think there's a slight chance that we're just not allowed to get this guy. Next up is Moonfish, who I'm also going to put in the very likely category. Pretty much the entire Vanguard Action Squad is going to be in the very likely or confirmed category, because I think it'd be really weird to omit any of them. I think you could maybe make an argument for possibly on Moonfish because like how forgettable he kind of is to everyone, but I mean he did have like essentially a whole fight against Bakugo and Todoroki. They do fight him for quite an extended bit of time. There's a lot you can do with like his attacks and his foundations. You can certainly make a kit for Moonfish, and I think as absolutely disgusting as it would be to look at Moonfish on 9 different cards in this game, I think there's a pretty solid chance that he's in the set and has a kit. At worst, promo character without a kit. Next up is going to be our first Gunhead tier character. This is the Chainsaw Nomu. This is the Nomu that the Vanguard Action Squad brings into the forest. I think there's like an almost 0 chance we get this as a character card, but he is like a unique character that we do see during that arc, so it's very possible that he squeezes in somehow. If anything, maybe this is not like Chainsaw Nomu as a unique character, and this is just Nomu 2 dot. I think there's a very solid chance that this could just be Nomu 2 dot. That makes me feel like a little bit more possibly about him. I know that's been like a thing that people have debated for a while, is like when we get more Nomus, maybe not the high-end Nomus, because a lot of those could be their own characters, but when we get just more like generalized Nomu variants, are they just going to be like Nomu 2, Nomu 3, etc.? Osei Tyson would be very, very glad if this is Nomu 2 in this set. Now moving our way into some good guys for a big shift. All Might, we're definitely getting a new All Might in this set. He is on the box of the rival deck. It's All Might versus All for One, right? I think we're definitely getting a new All Might, possibly even the last All Might. Maybe he interacts with like true form All Might in a way, because the big thing about that fight is All Might going from his big form to true form and still fighting as true form. There's a lot of cool things going on there that they might do. I think there's like an extremely tiny chance that this is just a reprint of one of the other All Mights in the game, but I think that this is probably like the last shot that we have to get a new All Might in the game for a while, because after this he retires. So I think that we're going to see a new All Might in this rival deck for sure. Next up we got Edge Shot, who I'm going to put in like the possibly category. Edge Shot does like semi-relevant things during the whole Camino arc. He is a very, very pivotal part of like infiltrating the bar, the hideout. He puts everyone to sleep. He's a really, really cool guy, and he is like one of the top 10 heroes. He sees a lot more relevance later on in the series once we get into like the pro hero arc. So I don't think that there's like a massive chance we see him, but the fact that we saw characters like Death Arms and Backdraft, like it feels like they're trying to they said they're not really going super chronologically anymore, but it does feel like they're trying to like clean up the roster of minor characters, almost like checklist style as they go through the arcs. So I think there's a pretty decent chance that we could see Edge Shot here in the possibly category. I doubt in the set. I think like besides the villains themselves, I don't see there being any non-villains inside the set itself. I think any non-villains will be promo characters of some kind. I feel like they want to reserve the set exclusively just for the villains themselves. Next, in a very similar vein as Edge Shot, we've got Power Loader. Power Loader I'm gonna put in the Gunhead category. Power Loader is like such a minor and irrelevant character. He has like no impact on anything in the series whatsoever. Again, he's only on here because if we're gonna print guys like Backdraft and Death Arms, there's a chance that we can print Power Loader, but it's just very, very, very small. The only thing he really has over any other like super irrelevant characters in the series so far is he's the only teacher, like this is noteworthy, he's the only teacher that is fought in their final exams, the 2v1 final exams at the very end of season 2. He's the only teacher out of that group that does not have a character card yet. So slight chance that we get Power Loader, but I think it's very minuscule. If anything, he might pop up later on, but definitely in the Gunhead tier. In a very, very similar way, Manual is going to be in the Gunhead tier as well. If you don't remember this guy, which you probably don't, to be fair, this is the guy that Ida interns with in Hosu City. He only does it just to try and get close to Stain, because this guy is like a total nobody. But again, he's a named character. Very, very, very small chance that we'll get this guy in a promo card variant of some sort, but honestly, I don't see it really happening. He's just here in essentially just to be mentioned because that is what the Gunhead tier is for. Next up on the list, we've got another pro hero, and this guy is Gang Orca. I'm gonna also put Gang Orca in the possibly category. Definitely super at the bottom of it. Gang Orca is another one of the top 10 heroes. He's very relevant during the provisional exam arc, so if they want to cover that arc in the promos of this set, I think he shoots like all the way up to here. He's super relevant in that arc, but I don't think that we're going that far in this set. I think there's just too many characters to do that like need love. Like it's clear that they want to give the Shiketsu High students cards because we have Fierce Whirlwind and Extendo Hairstrike again. So I think they're going to wait to put those guys in an actual set. Same for Gang Orca, so I'm going to only put him in the possibly category. He is called upon for Bakugo's rescue and the whole Camino Ward arc. He doesn't really do anything during it though, so I think it's super unlikely that we get this guy, but it's certainly possible. Next up, we have Kendo, one of our Class 1B students, and I think Kendo is actually very likely. I'd be really surprised if we went through all of Set 4's promo characters without seeing Kendo, given that she got her big ultra rare in Set 2, and then she has that comboed with the fact that like her most relevant time is during this arc in the forest when she fights Mustard with Tetsu. I think those two factors combined make it feel really likely that we're going to get Kendo at some point along the promo characters this season. Do a little bit of reordering on these just to kind of go from like most very likely to least very likely. The confirmed tier doesn't really matter because they're all like confirmed. Next we got Best Genist. I also think that Best Genist is very likely. I'd probably put him like a little bit above Kendo. Best Genist is just such a relevant character at this point in time in the series. I'm surprised we haven't gotten him already. I think it's crazy that Best Genist was not in set 3. Like, he's who Bakugo does his internship with during that arc. He's one of the top 10 heroes. He is in the Camino Ward arc, and he's extremely relevant during it. Like, he saves everyone from All for One and fights All for One. Gets his big injury in that fight too. Like, this is the most relevance that Best Genist has this early on in the series, so I think it's pretty likely that we get him as a character card as well. I wonder if maybe like they just don't know what to do with him, because based on the criteria of like how they print characters, it is wild that we have not seen Best Genist yet. I think it's only a matter of time. Next up we have All for One. All for One is also all but confirmed, right? He's in the rival deck. He is the front and center face of it. I think there's a small chance that we might get a second All for One somewhere inside the set, simply because like All for One is probably going to have some really like game breaking type of abilities, like copying characters and stealing abilities and stuff like that. Like that is very like game shattering, rule breaking territory. So I think we might see like a very watered down All for One in the rival deck, like a very base, like simple form of those abilities, and then maybe inside the set he's got like a super complex version of himself where he's doing some real crazy stuff. Next up we've got Shigaraki. Shigaraki is also essentially in the confirmed category. There's like a very minor chance we don't get Shigaraki 3 in this set because we already got Shigaraki 2 in Heroes Clash, but I don't think that's very likely at all. He is literally on the front end cover of the set, unless that's like an action card or something like that, or just an attack. I think it's really wild if we don't get a Shigaraki 3 in this set. Simply feels like it would be bad for business to not have a new version of him. Next up we have Kurogiri. Now Kurogiri is already in the game, but I think it's like a decent chance that we could get a new version of him in this set. I think I'm gonna put him in like the possibly category. I think there's like a decent chance that we might get a Kurogiri 2 in this set. He doesn't like do anything during this arc really, but again, I think this is a little bit more about the villains themselves rather than the arc, and Kurogiri was a huge part of Season 1's big USJ fight, and he still hasn't really got cards that accredit that whatsoever. Like, we have a Kurogiri in the game, but he's just like a provisional promo character card. He doesn't have any direct support. Maybe there's a chance that they finally just give Kurogiri 1 a whole kit, but maybe we just get a whole new Kurogiri with a whole new kit and a whole new style that goes that way to him, or he might just get the Midnight treatment like she did in set 3 and finally get a kit. Either way, I think there's a solid chance we see some Kurogiri love somewhere in this set. Next up we got Girin, and this is probably another character that you don't even know the name of and barely remember, but this is Girin. He is the broker, essentially the arms dealer for the League of Villains. He's the one who brings Dabi and Toga into the league. He brings Twice into the league. He's essentially how they get all their suits and stuff. I think he's still gonna sit in the Gunhead tier. I think there's probably all the way at the bottom, very small chance that he gets a character card. He doesn't actually do anything combat wise. I don't know if we even know what his quirk is in the series. Girin's a super background character. Gunhead tier was designed for a guy like Girin. Next up we got Dabi, and he's not on the box, but man, he's as close to being confirmed as he possibly could be without actually being confirmed. Dabi 2 is almost more than certainly happening, and I'm actually going to bring Toga up here to talk about her at the same point, because I think Toga 2 is very likely happening in this set as well. Dabi 2 and Toga 2, like, they're pretty much the pivotal forefront, like, mainstay characters of the League of Villains. They come to the forefront in this arc. They've only gotten like very minimal versions so far, and I think it's definitely time to bring a Dabi 2 and a Toga 2 into the game, both with a full kit, because we've seen the retailer image for the class reunion set, and we can see the alt arts for the cards from set 4 on it, and there is a Dabi Foundation and a Toga attack, and they've got new symbols on them, so I think it's extremely likely that we're getting a brand new Dabi and Toga, finally essentially getting like actual true versions of these two characters into the game. And then I'm actually going to talk about Midoriya, Bakugo, and Todoroki all at once, because we have the Chibi DLC sitting us right there. They are all basically confirmed, guys. We are pretty much undoubtedly getting new versions of all of these characters. There's potentially a 4th character in this DLC that we don't know about. It's weird that only 3 are on the cover, but maybe that's just the way they want to market it because it's the big 3. There's almost no shot that these are pre-existing versions of these characters, just with alternate arts. I think there's no way they try and resell us like uncommon character cards from set 2 or something. Pretty sure these are going to be all new versions. These are going to be the 3 dots of these characters coming in this DLC. Next, I want to talk about Awase. This is a student from Class 1B who, again, you probably don't even know the name of, but I'm going to put him in the gunhead tier. He's literally only here because he's the guy with the welding quirk who attaches the tracker that Momo makes to the chainsaw Nomu so that the kids and the pro heroes can eventually track down the League of Villains leading into the Camino arc. But that's like the only relevance he has in that arc itself. I think it's extremely unlikely that he's getting any kind of character card. I just felt like it'd be funny to mention him. And then in a very similar vein, the last character I want to talk about is Sirius. This is Selkie's sidekick, if you remember her from that arc. I think it's extremely unlikely that we're getting her. Probably would put her like right here. I think there's almost no shot, but again, I kind of wanted to mention her just because, hey, we printed Selkie, right? We did print Selkie, so very solid chance that she might come in as a promo character alongside him somewhere down the line. And that, guys, is my full prediction for Set 4's character rosters. I think everyone in the confirmed tier is obviously in the set, and I think I'd be really surprised if everyone in the very likely tier is not in the set. If you think there's someone I missed that is more than likely going to be in Set 4, please let me know down in the comment section below. I feel like I covered everyone, especially scraping the bottom of the barrel down here, but maybe there's someone I missed, and you should totally let me know if I did. Furthermore, if any of your favorite characters are more than likely going to be in this set, man, sound off below about it. I want to hear how excited you guys are. I'm really excited to play Mr. Compress. I'm really excited to see what Twice does. I very much might play him as well. He's one of my favorites. I mean, he's literally on my shirt. Hopefully we'll get some more news and previews regarding Set 4 as we get closer and closer to its release date and to the date of the HLC, the Hero League Championship, the Worlds event, which if you don't know, you can buy tickets to right now, not to play in the main event itself. Of course, that's only for the qualified, but you can get tickets for general admission, which will allow you to play in a pre-release for Set 4, which is probably going to be the very first time that any of those cards are made public knowledge whatsoever. So like, it's going to be very, very exciting, and you should be a part of that. In the meantime, though, all we can do about Set 4 is speculate on it on cool videos like this. And if you want to see more cool videos like this, hit the subscribe button so I can shove all of my MHA CCG content into your news feed. Above all else, though, thanks for just making it to the end of this video, and I hope I can see you in the next one.